Comfort is the most convincing lie because it feels permanent in a temporary world. This is more of a systemic change that we will see about comfort. We have seen the world base itself around a consistent 7 to 10% returns, making a typical 9 to 5, and having a family and a house and calling it a life. But what has seemed to be the permanent path to financial stability is going to change. And the permanent path to living a life is going to change because of some of the systemic alternatives that appear. If you really think about this on a long enough time horizon, you will see the misalignment between the world we know now and the world that's coming. This specifically applies to you. You must think about it in a really deep paradigm for you to really get the context behind why comfort is a convincing lie. Comfort, by definition, is the feeling of preserving familiar patterns. It is what you have known and learned to be right. The good news about pattern recognition is that once you recognize a pattern, it is known to be something that sticks. The hard part about pattern recognition is that these patterns evolve over time. Your direct correlation to learning and comfort are why you feel comfortable, but comfort is something that will change quickly, especially over the next 5 years. Many people in a systemic level are identifying as the comfortable life they live now, without any evolution and without any possibility of change appearing in their minds, which has been the historical path. For example, in the 1960s, the cost of a home was affordable enough for a truck driver to be able to buy one and have 3 kids and a dog and live. But that was in an economy where we were tied to the value of gold. 60 years ago, truck drivers made money at an extremely high clip because moving materials through people was the only thing that was possible. But now, even in 2026, we're seeing the bare bone beginnings of cars being able to drive on their own in the road. We have Waymos that exist and alternative options that appear at affordable rates and change the nature of how that economy moves. What you might know as a pattern won't be the pattern that exists 5 years from now. We're seeing a fourth industrial revolution on the way. It is not value that humans create anymore that's valuable to many. Instead, it is the machines that do valuable things that humans did with more accuracy and consistency. Comfort, in this case, is you recognizing the pattern and doing a job over and over and over again. A common one is accounting. If you're looking at numbers all day and people say, hey, be able to help me track my finances, make sure that I invest in the S&P 500 and put some money in my Roth IRA and 401k, we'll call it a life, and have enough to retire at 65 to never worry about money again. That long-term stability path requires you to have the job in the first place. And the comfort or the pattern recognition of if I do these things at work, it gives me this amount of value, is not one that will hold if your skill set never evolves. The pattern that you recognize is doing the same skill over and over again, but that skill set is going to evolve. The monotonous, repetitive patterns of life are now being captured by a computer faster than you could realize. And for those of you who are unaware of its implications or effects, it means that the patterns you once knew may not be as valuable as they once were. So the idea of comfort here is a convincing lie because the patterns you have recognized as permanent may not be permanent anymore. This also applies to your beliefs. If you believe that the world is going to move in the same way, it's a temporary belief. It's only a matter of time before the entire world's structure changes before your very eyes. The question is, are you prepared for that change, or are you going to allow these changes to eat you and consume you? If there's any time in life for you to look inwards and say, I may not have this comfort moving forward, it is now, before the effects of you not recognizing new patterns hits you. There is so much false conviction in comfort right now that people are not able to see past. And until these people do, they can't evolve to match what the new economy looks like. There are so many different elements that are coming that even I am struggling to process. It is a race to see who can capture the most value right now while capitalism exists. And in a world of capitalism, the comfort of having a skill has been the reason why people exist today. But the question is, what skill sets are going to matter in 5 years? What's really going to stick in the long run? It's existential at this point for you to understand that these pattern recognitions you've obtained won't be the end-all, be-all. This life and this morality concept that you have is not everlasting. We will be here for a limited amount of time. We will have a limited amount of time. And it's up to us to maximize what patterns we can recognize and learn. Because the patterns we learned as kids are not the patterns that exist today. This is a fair warning to all of us that these systems are coming and that this learning you've learned is not the final form. Everybody has a chance to evolve their consciousness to match what's coming. Capitalism, at the end of the day, is based on an exchange of good or service for value. What value can we create when a lot of what we do is monotonous and repetitive? I am not speaking about the places where humans can be creative or use their hands or do different things than what a system could learn, because that's always going to be valuable. The value is created in the gaps between time and output. But where are you going to recognize the patterns as monotonous and repetitive and temporary? When are you going to recognize that those different value adds will be what sticks? And how are you going to implement this in your future endeavors? If you can think about these things and really act on it sooner than later, this is where you differentiate in the long run. This is where you allow yourself to have ideas of comfort. The greatest comfort is being uncomfortable. Comfort is a convincing lie because it is temporary by nature, not permanent. And you have what it takes to understand these patterns. The question is, when are you going to start looking at them and act in alignment with the future that's coming? Thank you so much for your time. I believe in you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Cheers.